I come to the state about 1976. I teach in Thailand for a few years. The same thing, healing and everything for a few years. When I born is 1944. It's July 1944. And I studying in Chinatown, renting a small place and studied to teach to Chinese people according what I promised to my master. Said I'm going to teach to the Chinese people first before I'm going to teach to the Western people. We know that I will eventually go abroad and teach. And one day I put advertising that if you cannot opening the microcosmic, I give you back money guarantee. So one day a psychology called Dr. Lee came. So he came to study. It seemed like he may take a long time helping everything, and suddenly she opened in 2 days.
One of my patients in Chinatown told me about him in 1979. What he taught my patient sounds like what I always knew. When my patient described his practices to me that he learned from Master Chia, I knew that Master Chia is a teacher of authentic classic Buddhist practices. And I noticed that Master Chia taught the same system of Tao practices that I read up on in my high school days. And I continue to read more about this system during my medical school year. Master Chia introduced the Chinese Taoist esoteric teachings to America and integrated it all with the esoteric schools already in America at the time. Master Chia is a real professor. He's not just a teacher of one esoteric school. He integrated them all.
The Grandmaster, no name. He don't want to be named. He get to one level, he go out, he leave the body, go out. And he sit there and started to, so he learned something that he think that some of them are so much dust, all covered with dust. So he started to brush them and everything and massage a little bit. And suddenly the Grandmaster opened the eye. So he said, I think you and me have a good karma. And I think that I'm going to teach you. When I study in Hong Kong, study the Chinese and the English. The novel talk about Kung Fu, fighting, internal Chi, energy. We don't believe that. So a man walked by, come in, he said, you don't believe Chi? My master can show you the energy. He said, you want to feel energy? Yes. So I said, so you concentrate. And he put a finger on here, you concentrate here, keep on concentrate. You feel something, you come back and tell me.
Living in San Francisco, during the 70s, I come back from India. So then one time, I was down there looking, I think, and I see this book, the white cover book, the first book, right? In the corner, Awaken something. And I started looking at this, and that's it. I read the book sitting there. I said, boy, this must be the guy who's running around in New York City teaching things. And just when I made that decision, in one of those free newspapers that they have in, back then in the New Age circle, it's a little ad, tiny ad, but he mentioned the name of the guy, which I knew from the book, Mantak. I said, boy, I'm going to go see that guy. So then I got there early because I was really interested.
A lot of his work I learned basically traveling with him, staying in hotel rooms, and he would write a little formula on the back of an envelope, like the Gettysburg Address. I would study the fusion or the microcosmic, because he would just scribble it on a little piece of paper, and I would practice it, and I'd ask him, and I'd learn the Tai Chi form, kind of traveling, and that was my...
And one of my friends down at Bubash started telling me about this guy who was doing this intense iron shirt packing practice, and I met Mantak Chia and went down to Chinatown. I asked him what he was about. I'm teaching physical immortality. So basically all the people knew were martial arts. That was the only thing they'd gotten through. There were some Tai Chi, a few Tai Chi teachers at the time. That was it. And I ended up editing, 7 books and writing, a good piece of those books that I never thought I would. Cultivating Male Sexual Energy, Taoist Secrets of Love book, which I worked on for, over a year. But that's the book that really took off. Of course, people are interested in sex and spiritual sex, really hot topic, and practical advice on it. A lot of people from all past now are saying, well, awakening and healing energy of the Tao, which already produced some controversy because all the Chinese hated him as soon as that book came out. This is the first book that explained the microcosmic orbit.
I heard about the Tao about 3 years before I met Mantak Chia, and a friend of mine gave us a book, Awaken Healing Energy Through the Tao, and he said, I think this will help you. So we flew down to San Francisco, and we were very impressed by his energy and his presentation of how progressive these practices are. I love that whole practice of breast massage and awakening the inner organs and the virtues of the organs. And I bought my first jade egg because we urgently need those practices to integrate our sexuality with our spirituality and with love.
The female practices that Master Chia brought to the West are essential practices for life. And women of all ages can benefit from these practices, not just in their sexual life, but in their emotional life and in their life as citizens of the universe. It's really about doing them.
At the time I met Master Chia in 1984, I was living in Somerville, Massachusetts in a loft space. So I signed up for the Tai Chi class at Interface. They were teaching Tai Chi and meditation. And after a while, the Tai Chi helped me just relax my nervous system, and I was able to sit and meditate and enjoy it. And amazingly, the Tai Chi, the Qigong, the meditation techniques, my allergies disappeared. And I felt the power in that. I felt the power of self-healing.
In 1985, Mantak Chia for the first time came to Germany. So I sat down and make a calculation if I could go to the training in Big Indian. So I just started selling stuff. I worked. I taught the healing sounds and the inner smile in the evening from having had one workshop with Mantak Chia, because I was living in a meditation center in a commune with people and they were all interested. So I worked like crazy and I knew I was going to do this. The Tao just has become a way of life to me. It's not any more practices I do or techniques I practice, but it's really a lifestyle that I have the pleasure of sharing.
In 1980, I was a student at New York Chiropractic College, and previous to that, I had studied some Tai Chi Chuan for 5 years, and 5 years of Tang Soo Do, which is a Korean martial art, and I got my black belt in that. And I began studying Tai Chi. I was looking for a new teacher, and I got the Whole Lifetimes, and I saw Taoist Esoteric Yoga, Master Mantak Chia. So I decided to go down to Chinatown with Lois to meet him. When I was graduating from school, I needed a place to live. He was also looking for a house to buy.
Michael literally dragged me to Chinatown that day. I had no desire to meet Master Chia or do any of these martial arts activities. I had, at that time in my life, done nothing. I'm very grateful that I did, because we met the most kind-hearted man, Master Chia, that you could ever imagine. He sat down and spoke to us, and it was very difficult for me to understand him in the beginning. We came back to the, meditation circle, and he put his hand at my sacral area, the lumbosacral area, learning in the process from Master Chia not to compare, to just go within and just do it.
I was down in Huntington, New York at Master Chia's house, and that was where the teacher training that I did was held. And in exchange for doing work on the books, because I was at the time a graphic designer, illustrator, and I was able to barter for part of the time of being able to basically spend the whole month with Master Chia.
In 1994, I went to the instructor's training retreat that he had been having in the United States, and I knew that I better catch the train now or I'll have to go to Thailand, and that'll be harder on my family. Master Chia had the freedom and the liberation to be able to approve that, to be able to say, you guys do that, let that go, and have an autonomous, interconnected Instructors Association that had its own power, had its own authority unto itself. And that's a difficult thing for most masters.
Just a practice, and everybody benefit throughout the world without any have to believe to anything, because they believe on themselves and the force.